In this video, I'm going to debunk a few six-pack myths while also revealing the truth about fat and explain why the only way you will ever see your abs is by burning the layer of fat that covers them. There is no other way. First off though, let me start off by clearing up a few myths for you. Myth number 1, you can turn fat into muscle. This has to be one of the oldest and most common myths that I hear time and time again. Unfortunately though, it's totally false. Fat can only be stored in the body or released as energy. You can only gain fat or burn fat. You definitely can't turn it into muscle. So don't go gaining a bunch of fat because you think you can turn it into muscle later by lifting some weights. Or else you will have to work much longer and harder to burn all that excess fat off in the future if you ever want to see your abs. Myth number 2, sit-ups will get rid of belly fat and reveal your abs. This is also a pretty common myth that many of you seem to fall for time and time again. The truth is though, you can do 200 sit-ups a day until you're blue in the face, but you still won't ever see your abs if you're not following a proper nutrition and workout plan specific to your goals. You might strengthen your core a bit and slightly develop your abdominal region, but you definitely won't burn belly fat to reveal your abs. Myth number 3, weigh yourself daily to track progress. Many of you probably weigh yourself often, or at least once a week, to track your progress or to see if you're losing fat or not. But the problem with this method is that the results can be very deceiving, since just because you gained or perhaps even lost a few pounds within a period of a few days, that doesn't necessarily mean that you gained or lost any fat whatsoever. The weight difference could have simply resulted because of your body's change in either water weight, muscle weight, or the amount of food you digested on that specific day would also play a role if you didn't weigh yourself on an empty stomach. So those factors could give you a misleading number, and it's natural for the body to go up or down a few pounds on an average day. And it's nothing to really worry about as long as you're following a sound nutrition plan. So you definitely don't want to base your fitness results on the number you see on the scale alone. To get a more accurate reading, however, you are better off finding out what your body fat percentage is by a certified fitness assessment specialist once every few weeks or so. At the end of the day though, how you look and feel is more important than any number on a scale. So you're better off not weighing yourself too often. Myth number 4, all fats are bad and make you fat. This myth is pretty interesting since most of us were taught that fats are the devil and can lead to many horrible diseases including obesity, heart disease. Now that is true, but not totally accurate. The main type of fat you really want to avoid is trans fats and hydrogenated oils. Most junk foods, highly processed foods, margarines, and fried foods contain these types of bad fats, and you should stay away from them, for both the sake of your health and abs. The various other types of fats, however, can be beneficial to both your health and your fitness goals, especially the essential fats. You want to use oils such as virgin olive oil and coconut oil for cooking and for salads. You also want to eat foods such as avocado, raw almonds or walnuts, wild salmon, or you can also supplement with fish oil. A bit of saturated fats from red meat and dairy can also be beneficial and a great way to help regulate healthy testosterone levels. All in all, fat is an essential part of your diet, and getting enough of the good fats will be crucial to helping you achieve your fitness goals and uncovering your abs. However, as mentioned in my previous video about understanding calories, you need to be extra careful in tracking the amount of fat you consume, since the calories from fat can quickly add up. And you want to make sure you don't go over your caloric limit, whatever that may be for you, or else you'll end up storing some fat and you don't want that. Myth number 5, a calorie is a calorie. Ever hear the saying, abs are made in the kitchen? Well, that's a fairly accurate statement, since revealing your abs comes down to burning more calories than you consume. But all calories are not made equally, and calories from different sources of food can affect the body in different ways. The key is to manipulate the type of calories you consume by following a nutrition plan with the proper macronutrient breakdown as well as the proper timing of certain meals, foods, and supplements. As I demonstrated in my previous video on calories, there is a big difference between eating a bunch of nutritionally dense meals throughout the day or just consuming a cup of oil, which would both equal to about 1900 calories. When it comes to building a toned body with a nice six-pack, A calorie isn't just a calorie. So start reading labels and educate yourself on the things you consume on a daily basis. In summary, the only way to get six-pack abs is to burn the layer of belly fat covering your abs. But to do that, you must make sure that your nutrition plan is on point and that you are burning more calories than you consume, while also following a specific macronutrient breakdown to help you support your fitness goals. Otherwise, if you consume more calories than your body needs on a daily basis, your body will store those excess calories as fat, and that's not what you want. Until next time, a life worth living is a life worth improving. In the meantime though, go and get some abs now!